Welcome. We're still working in Learning Module 5, but now we know how to conjugate ER verbs. We even know how to make sentences with two ER verbs, meaning the first verb is conjugated, the second one is in the infinitive, and we know how to negate sentences to say, I do not study, je n'étudie pas, or I do not work, je ne travaille pas. Now we focus in the second part of this module on using these new verbs not only to talk about our daily routine, which these new verbs are perfect for doing, but also to talk about the scheduling of our daily routine. And for that, we'll be using the days of the week. You'll hear a few notions of times of day here and there. I couldn't completely filter out the times, but you won't really be working on telling time until next learning module 6. So, arrange the days of the week in order. Lundi is Monday, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche. A French work week, well, a French calendar is organized with lundi in the first slot. Dimanche is the end of the week, and although legislation may be changing on this, the tradition is for shops to close Sunday afternoon so that people have time with their family. Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi, samedi, dimanche. Now, in English, if we want to say on Mondays, we would say on Mondays. In French, if they want to say on Mondays, they would say le lundi. Le lundi in French translates on Monday or on Mondays. So if I do something every Monday, I would say le lundi, je travaille. But if exceptionally I do not have work on Monday, I may say, dropping the le, lundi, je ne travaille pas. And then I may go on to say it is a holiday. C'est un jour férié. Aujourd'hui, if I want to say today is Monday, I would say aujourd'hui, c'est lundi. Or aujourd'hui, ce n'est pas lundi, it's not Monday. I can also use the verb être a little more creatively in French. I may emphasize that today we are Monday. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes lundi. Or on est lundi aujourd'hui. Or I would correct, non, on n'est pas lundi aujourd'hui. On est jeudi. Non. And you may respond to me, ce n'est pas vrai. On n'est pas jeudi. On est vendredi. Ah oui, aujourd'hui, on est vendredi. Aujourd'hui, je travaille et je déjeune au restaurant. Le vendredi soir, j'invite des amis et nous parlons ensemble. Okay, so you get the general idea that we're going to be talking about our schedules this week. The first activity that you use to train yourself is this à la clinique Laurier. You open up your book, your ebook, to chapter 1, part 2, vocabulaire 2, and you start looking at Claire's schedule, and you also do these listening activities where you hear someone else's schedule being described. You should always have a pen and paper with you so that you can take notes on what you hear and, where possible, adapt. If you hear someone describing their schedule and it's beautifully written in French, then change a couple words so that it becomes your schedule. That's how you start modeling correct use of the French and build your own French repertoire. So let's hear what we hear in this listening activité A.
Vocabulaire 2. Activité A. À la clinique Laurier. 1. Le mercredi, Nicole travaille à la bibliothèque de la clinique.
Okay, so there I just heard le mercredi, Nicole travaille à la bibliothèque. So since he said le mercredi, I'm going to say, that means she's there every Wednesday. Chaque means each Wednesday, or le mercredi, on Wednesdays.
2. Nicole mange à la maison le jeudi.
I heard le jeudi. So that's chaque jeudi. So let's start over again. So you can hear again.
Le mercredi, Nicole travaille à la bibliothèque de la clinique.
Le mercredi, Nicole travaille à la bibliothèque de la clinique. Simple, effective. Repeat or write down.
2. Nicole mange à la maison le jeudi.
Encore une fois, a routine. Nicole mange à la maison le jeudi.
3. Samedi, elle mange avec Simone.
Now this time I did not hear le, I just heard samedi. Elle mange avec Simone. That means she has a lunch date with Simone this Saturday, not every Saturday.
4. Le mardi soir, elle regarde la télé.
Le mardi soir, elle regarde la télé. Sounds like she has a favorite show that she watches.
5. Nicole chante à la clinique dimanche.
Again, you're listening for whether it's dimanche or le dimanche. This is another activity in which you're listening and anticipating the next day of the week. So you hear days of the week, select the day that comes after the day you hear, which is, when you talk about today, you say aujourd'hui, and demain, sometimes you'll say demain, or le lendemain, the day.
Activité B. Le lendemain. 1. Si aujourd'hui est mercredi, le lendemain, c'est...
Si aujourd'hui est mercredi, le lendemain, c'est...
2. Si aujourd'hui est mardi, le lendemain, c'est... 3. Si aujourd'hui est vendredi, le lendemain, c'est... 4. Si aujourd'hui est mardi, le lendemain, c'est...
Le lendemain, c'est mercredi. The next day,
5.
it is...
Si aujourd'hui est samedi, le lendemain, c'est...
After samedi, après samedi, c'est dimanche.
6. Si aujourd'hui est jeudi, le lendemain, c'est...
Vendredi. Way! And, you can always go over again. Now that you see the correct answers, you can review. And I would, if you need to, review 20 times if you need to. Your language doesn't just jump into your head. You have to repeat. Focus. Now, here's another activity. Les activités de Claire Gagné. You will hear a series of questions, look at her agenda, and try to answer them. So, you're looking at the agenda. Qu'est-ce que Claire fait samedi après-midi?
Activité B. Les activités de Claire Gagné. Modèle. You hear. Qu'est-ce que Claire fait samedi après-midi? You say. Elle travaille à l'hôtel. 1. Qu'est-ce que Claire fait samedi matin?
Qu'est-ce que Claire fait
2.
samedi matin?
Qu'est-ce que Claire fait vendredi soir?
Qu'est-ce que Claire fait vendredi
3.
soir?
Qu'est-ce que Claire fait lundi matin?
Uh-oh. I have to get my ebook ahead of me. I forgot to set that up ahead of this. Okay, so I'm going to Claire Gagné. I'm going to her schedule. Qu'est-ce que Claire fait? Now, faire, you don't need that yet, but you will soon. It means, what does she do? Go to chapter 1. And notice that her schedule is divided into le matin, so that would translate in the morning. If I said le lundi matin, Monday mornings, on Monday mornings, l'après-midi, in the afternoon, le soir, in the evenings. And so there are some days of the week in which she has free time. You would say, elle est libre, for example, this soir, mercredi soir, elle est libre mercredi soir. Okay, let's go back again and do it correctly. Sorry.
You say, elle travaille à l'hôtel. 1. Qu'est-ce que tu as fait samedi matin?
Samedi matin, elle mange un café.
Qu'est-ce que tu as fait le vendredi soir?
Ah, le vendredi soir, Claire travaille à l'hôtel, elle regarde un...
Qu'est-ce que tu as fait lundi matin?
Lundi matin...
4. Qu'est-ce que tu as fait mardi matin?
Elle est en cours de psychologie.
Qu'est-ce que tu as fait dimanche soir?
Je crois qu'elle ne fait rien. Ah, elle n'a
Qu'est-ce que tu as fait mercredi après-midi?
Elle travaille à l'hôtel...
7.
Non.
Qu'est-ce que tu as fait dimanche après-midi?
Je crois qu'elle est avec Abia. Elle déjeune avec Abia.
Jeudi soir, Claire cuisine. Qu'est-ce qu'elle fait le lendemain?
Jeudi soir, Claire cuisine. Le lendemain, elle écoute un CD. So maybe you should always just stop it, because even for me it's a bit fast. But in general, you see what you can do. For example, le dimanche matin, elle mange au café. Le dimanche après-midi, elle parle avec maman. Now, if I say l'après-midi, elle parle avec maman, that's fine. In the afternoon, she speaks with her mom, with mama. Or le dimanche après-midi, elle parle avec maman. And you could also say, like, dimanche, pendant l'après-midi, like during the afternoon, elle parle avec maman. If you want to really emphasize, you know, on Sunday, during the afternoon, she talks with her mom. Okay. On continue. Homework there. Le meilleur soir, again, we're just practicing using days of the week, and we're using this structure c'est for it is. Le meilleur soir pour regarder un film au cinéma, c'est samedi soir. Le meilleur soir pour manger au restaurant, c'est vendredi soir. Of course, this is completely subjective. Le meilleur soir pour regarder la télévision, c'est dimanche soir. Le meilleur soir pour passer un examen, c'est lundi soir. Le meilleur soir pour jouer au foot américain, je crois que c'est lundi soir normalement, non? Le meilleur soir pour inviter des amis, c'est samedi soir. Le meilleur soir pour téléphoner aux parents, c'est tous les soirs. Every evening. So I would say tous les soirs, because tous is plural, because it's actually attached to les soirs, tous les soirs. Or, let me say, c'est dimanche soir. Le meilleur soir pour étudier, the best evening for studying, c'est mercredi soir. Why not? Now, un bon étudiant. This activity shows you how to use ER verbs, but this time with adverbs. Rarement, rarely. Now, instead of saying ne pas, like I do not listen to the professor, I replace pas with jamais here, and that means I never listen to the professor. Notice that in English we would say listen to, That's built into our verb structure for listen to. But in French, you just say écoutez le professeur. Beaucoup gives a intensity, a lot, whereas souvent gives a frequency. It's an adverb that means often. Parfois is a little less frequent. It's parfois, sometimes. Assez gives an intensity of enough, and it's a bit open to interpretation because assez, je parle assez, can be like I speak enough. Il étudie assez, but it's not assez sometimes compared to souvent or beaucoup is kind of like doing the bare minimum, like he studies enough. It's not the same thing as saying il étudie tout le temps or toujours or beaucoup. Souvent, again, often. So, a good student rate rarement les examens. Oui. Un bon étudiant rate rarement les examens. Un bon étudiant n'écoute jamais le professeur. Non. Un bon étudiant écoute toujours le professeur. Un bon étudiant étudie beaucoup le soir. Oui. Un bon étudiant parle souvent avec le professeur. Oui. Un bon étudiant mange parfois en cours. Ah non, non, non. Manger en cours, ce n'est pas très bien. Un bon étudiant étudie assez le week-end. Again, I find assez a bit ambiguous. Bon, un bon étudiant, oui, un bon étudiant étudie le week-end, il étudie assez. Un bon étudiant ne regarde jamais la télé. Oui, un bon étudiant étudie ou bouquine ou marche au parc. Un bon étudiant navigue souvent sur Internet en classe. Oh non. Aha. I can see the book took off for assez. Oh no. Oh, they think that a good student can watch TV sometimes. Ah bah, excusez-moi, je ne suis pas d'accord. Un bon étudiant ne regarde jamais la télé. But that's subjective. Select the statements that are true for you. So, if you were talking about yourself, you may say, je rate rarement les examens. Je n'écoute jamais le professeur ou j'écoute souvent le professeur. You may say, je parle souvent avec le professeur. You may say, je mange parfois en cours. Sometimes I eat in class. Or you may say, je ne mange jamais en cours. J'étudie beaucoup le week-end. Je regarde parfois la télé. Je navigue parfois sur Internet. I'm just giving you a sense of taking these models and offering your own variations within the range that is given you. Don't try to suddenly say something totally different in English. Stay training in the French that is before you. Learn the French that is set before you and learn to speak it perfectly. Right. Quand. So here we're using the structure le lundi. J'étudie beaucoup le lundi soir. J'étudie un peu le vendredi soir. J'étudie rarement le samedi soir. Je mange parfois avec des amis le vendredi après-midi. Je regarde souvent la télévision le week-end. Je ne cuisine jamais le dimanche soir. Again, what's important is you learn to memorize what has been set before you and then offer your own individual variations on it and be ready to anticipate the variations of others and follow the directions. Stay within the academic structure. Here again we have our rarement, parfois, souvent et toujours. And here again we have great models. Je pratique un sport souvent. Je regarde la télé parfois. J'étudie toujours. Moi je voyage parfois. Je passe des examens, assez rarement quand même. Je mange, je crois que tout le monde mange. Bah, je mange souvent, quoi. Mais pas toujours. Je ne goûte jamais. Goûter is actually to snack. Et moi, je ne goûte jamais. Now you may offer some new variations by using the verb nous. Talk about you and your friends. Nous pratiquons toujours un sport. And you may talk about a friend, un ami, n'est-ce pas? And you use the third person. Il pratique rarement un sport, etc., etc. It's all about taking this limited set of academic lessons and making the most of it. And really building the ability to speak French in French, not trying to Google Translate your way through it. Nos emplois du temps. So here you may start practicing for the discussion board. You may start using times of the day, peek forward to what we'll be covering next week. So if you say, at noon, you'd say 12 heures, or at 1 heure, or you may even start using the 24-hour clock. So work in, maybe midi et demi, cours de sciences, or midi et demi, use the ER verb, déjeuner. And just like you saw with Claire's schedule, you would write the infinitive in a kind of shorthand, but then talking to someone you would say, je déjeune le mardi après-midi, à midi et demi. J'ai cours de musique. Oh, you haven't learned the avoir verb yet. So you would say, je suis au cours de musique à 11 heures, chaque mardi, ou j'étudie la musique. Here we also have another sneak preview of times of day here. We see 7 heures du matin, 7 in the morning, 9 heures du soir, 9 in the evening, midi, noon, and you have modeling the structure of asking someone, aimez-vous passer un examen? You're using two verbs here because it's about do you like to take a test at 7 in the morning? Do you like to have dinner? In French, you just have the ER verb. It's easier. Dîner after 9 in the evening. Do you like, this is the dormir. Do you like to sleep until noon? Do you like to study on Sundays? Do you like to watch French films? Do you like to speak French? And you're responding with oui, bien sûr, or not at all, pas du tout, or peut-être. And then to finish, you have a dictée, in which you're not only writing about schedules, actually, yeah, it's about Claire et Adia, so watch out because it's the, Claire et Adia are two girls, so you're probably going to hear sentences about two women, Claire et Adia, elles, pluriel, and you're probably going to hear sentences about their schedule, and you're also probably going to hear sentences about what kind of women they are because we're reviewing adjectives. Ok, mais bon courage et à bientôt sur Blackboard pour le forum des discussions. À tout à l'heure.